Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Balanced Life. We have conversations that connect to a healthier you. We have a great conversation for you today. So thank you for joining us. We're going to launch right in. So to start, being a personal trainer for the past 22 years, I'm very intrigued by my guest today's approach to resistant training. The concept being, if you want more strength, slow it down. So Jeff Grossman is the owner and trainer of the Workout Garage. His specialty is slow motion, high intensity, full body training that only needs to be done 25 minutes a week to obtain maximum results. We all know how important exercise is to maintain our balanced life. So the benefits, they're just numerous, and they include the prevention of osteoporosis, which is something that I think we're going to discuss today. So I want to say, before we welcome Jeff, will you know and make a note of this phone number, 323-284-7826. Call us, become part of this conversation. So without further ado, will you please welcome my guest today, Jeff Grossman.
Thank you.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you for coming all the way out here.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. I heard about you from another guest, Christina Bauer, and I was so interested in this concept of slow motion weight training and the value and the benefits of it. So we're going to start from the beginning, if that's okay. I'd like to get to know a little bit about you. And I know you haven't been doing this maybe 4 years, 5 years?
A little less than 3.5 years.
Oh, see? So then you had a whole career before that.
Yes.
And I want to hear all about where you're from and how you got into this.
I was in real estate, residential real estate, for about 30 years. And about 5 years ago, I decided I didn't want to do it anymore, and I was in a position where I could stop, and I had no plans to work.
So you were going to retire?
Well, yeah.
Basically.
I had two things that I was going to commit myself to. One was being as healthy as I could be, and the other was learning Spanish, which I know enough of and realize you can do it on your phone. So it translates on the phone. So being healthy became really primary. And
were you working out during your real estate years and stuff?
I have never been, I have been sort of a typical jog for a while, for 6-7 months, then I lose interest, then I do something else, then I do something else, then I stop. I've never been a real full-on exercise buff.
Did you go to the gym ever? Were you a gym member?
No,
Never.
That's not true. For a short while, went to the gym and did standard weight training, which is 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. But I didn't get into it for more than 4 or 5 months. So when I committed to being as healthy as I could be, along with my wife, we started changing our diet. And we started doing Pilates, and we have an elliptical trainer at home.
So you have some cardio equipment.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So I was doing the elliptical once, maybe twice a week for 45 minutes, and Pilates once a week. And it was good. It was good. And but the diet was really making a big difference. Can I ask you, because being in the nutrition world, I'm really curious, where were you at and what did you change to? Okay, so the first thing we did was we stopped eating gluten.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's taking out white flour, all the white foods, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was great. And I lost 5 pounds without thinking.
Immediately.
Yeah, without even thinking. And then my wife got more into it and said we need to cut out all grains. So then we cut out grains.
So it became paleo.
Yeah. Well, what
More or
happened
less.
was my daughter, who lived at the time in Boulder, Colorado, came home for a visit, and she had lost like 30 pounds, and she looked phenomenal. And we said, what's going on? She said, I did an elimination diet, a 30-day elimination diet. So we committed to doing that. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks.
Wow,
which was
that's
little,
a lot of weight very
was
quickly.
too fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I was getting.
it's a hard sustainable thing, and it may not be that healthy.
It wasn't
that fast.
I was getting dizzy. I was At any rate, once we did that 30 days, it was easy to convert to a paleo diet, and we've been mostly paleo, not 100%, but mostly paleo. I haven't regained the weight. So.
And how have you been feeling, may I ask? Because I talk to as a health coach, I talk to my clients a lot about elimination diets and then bringing food back in and whether they have, the brain fog has gone away and do they feel less bloat or not?
Yes.
And most of the time the answer is it's all gone.
I feel much better.
Yeah.
Much better. Now, the truth of it
Shows you how big food plays a role.
Well, I've put more of the stuff back in
which is easy to do.
It's okay.
But you find the balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so my wife during that time told me about a book she had heard about called Body by Science. And it's written by a doctor, personal trainer named Dr. Doug McGuff. It's about this workout, slow motion, high intensity weight training, and he scientifically explained why it's so successful. It's a little bit technical, but I read it and I absolutely got it. It totally connected to me, and I said to my wife, honey, the first of the year, now this was 3 years ago, January.
Okay.
I said, let's start doing this.
Just doing it for yourselves.
Yeah.
Trying it for yourselves.
Yeah, that's when I heard about it, and that's when I started.
Okay.
3 years ago, this past November.
Okay.
So in January 3 years ago, we started at a studio in Burbank. There's one 5 minutes from here. Yeah, it's called Informed
So you had
Fitness.
to drive from the Palisades. So you really wanted.
Yes.
So this book and him talking about this really made you think this works. I see the science behind it.
Yes.
And I'm going to give it a shot because you got to this certain point with your diet. Now you want the exercise to kick in.
And we started doing it religiously. Both of us. We'd go together. My wife would sit. I'd do it. Then I'd sit. I was talking to the guy that was training me about my history. What did you do before? And I was in real estate, but I said what I loved in real estate was I was a broker, and I loved recruiting and training new agents. I loved training.
Okay.
And I literally could feel the energy going off in the corner. Well, with my wife. So driving home, she says, Jeff, you're a trainer. You could do this. You could be it was like that.
Yeah.
And I was getting it. So I started. I decided, okay, I'm going to get certified, and I contacted a guy in New York, whose name is Adam Zickerman. He wrote a best-selling book called Power of 10, which is the same thing.
Premise is this.
Yes. And I said, I want to be a trainer. He said, okay, you need to be certified by a nationally recognized company. Yeah. So I went with the American Council on Education. I got certified. And then I went into basically in Burbank trained to be a trainer.
Yeah, I got my training that way too. And I think it's so important because the whole online stuff, I was with the American Academy of Body Sculpting.
Right.
And that's how I got certified. I had to go in and do the practical work,
right,
as well as the book work,
right,
but I had to do the practical too.
Right.
And I just, nowadays anybody can go online and just become, and think they can be a trainer, and it's not true.
No, it's not. Well, definitely not with what I'm doing.
Yeah, what you're doing is very specific. And how long did it take? So what was the course?
The whole process took me about 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I was getting clients from the Palisades, and the drive. Well, then I also worked in a studio in Brentwood, and all my clients were from the Palisades. And the drive from Brentwood from Palisades to Brentwood in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. It's a 12 minutes in the morning. It's an hour and 15 minutes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
It's
So
crazy to go 4 miles, right? Not
I-
even 3 miles.
I felt totally stifled. And so my wife, again, said, well, honey, why don't you open it up in the Palisades? Open your own studio. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to take a long-term lease for $3,500 a month. I can't commit.
Yeah, Palisades is the most expensive real estate in all of LA. I'm just here to tell you that. Okay. go
So
ahead.
she said, well, why don't you put it in the garage? So I said, it'll never fit in the garage.
Yeah.
So she
But-
said, well, why don't you do some research? Well, I got online and I got a schematic. Now, the book Body by Science, he mentions what he calls the Big Five, which are the 5 machines
That you
give
should
you.
have.
Yes. And I was able to fit those 5 machines right. It was perfect.
You just have to do a blueprint,
Yeah,
basically, and
exactly.
make them all work.
Yes.
So can I ask you talk a little
Okay,
closer so we can
yes,
hear you.
yeah.
What are those machines? I'm curious for all of us trainers out there.
Okay, there's a leg press machine.
Okay.
Okay, you sit in and you
Yes.
push. There's a torso pull down machine.
So like
There-
a lat.
Yeah,
you
lat
call it
pull down. Lat pull
Okay.
down. There's an overhead press.
Okay, so
Okay.
those are shoulders for
Right,
delts.
right.
Yes.
There's a chest press.
Press.
Chest press.
Okay.
And there's a seated row.
Okay, for back,
Yes.
center back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these 5 machines I was able to get are top quality machines.
Okay.
The best.
And you
Okay.
were able to fit them in your garage
Absolutely.
perfectly. So now you have your place. So now you have to start advertising. You have to let people know who you are and what you're doing, and
Right.
why you're. You have
Yes.
to sort of convince them, right? Because it's not, quite
No,
normal
it's
for them.
different.
Yeah, it's so different. It's
So-
not your typical.
So the process was there's a neighborhood social media called Nextdoor in different neighborhoods. Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
I didn't know you weren't supposed to advertise your own business, but I went on there and I wrote my story in about 6 paragraphs. And it connected. I got like 25 hits with people that were interested.
Wow.
So I signed up a few people and I put something in Nextdoor saying I need somebody to help me create a website for trade. And I got a woman, she called me, she came over, she walked in the door and said, we're going to call it the Workout Garage. We need to do it right now. We need to. And
Oh, good.
She went for
Isn't
it.
it that funny how the doors open up?
Oh, it's
it's like the
amazing.
universe
Yes.
just opens up
Yes.
when you put the call out. And it can be an internal, it can be a mental call. It doesn't have to be actually verbal, but they hear you,
Well, there's more with this woman, which is incredible. But she created a great website. And I mean, not just a nice website, but people, when they check out my website, they get it about the workout.
They
So when they
understand.
come in
Yeah.
the door, I don't have to do a sales pitch.
because they've already read all about it.
And they understand it.
But so in the interest of time, I want to
Yeah.
get through what.
Go
So
ahead.
now you're the trainer, and now you're starting. You're
Right.
attracting clients to come
Right.
in. So tell us what is different about this than your typical weight
Okay.
training, and then we'll get into the why of it.
Okay.
The how and the why.
So typical weight training, as everybody kind of knows, is 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. And when you finish the 12th rep on the 3rd set, you raise the weight. Okay, that's kind of typical. This is, you do 1 set on each machine, okay? And we don't count reps. We count time under load. And the way it works is every exercise has a positive and a negative. Positive is you're lifting, moving the weight. The negative is you're controlling the weight.
Okay.
And this,
So this is contraction to the muscle.
and
correct?
then, yes, and then going the opposite way.
Okay.
Contraction is the positive.
Right.
And
And then letting down
is the negative.
Okay.
You start, where you start, we count 10 seconds on the contraction. And before you get to a rest position, you start going the other way.
Okay. So
10
you're fatiguing the muscle to the point of fatigue.
10 seconds each way. never stopping. It's like a Ferris wheel. It just keeps moving.
So you keep going up and down for how long doing that one?
Until you get to what we call momentary muscle failure, which is an ideal that it's really the mind says I'm done.
Yes.
So when people get to that point, I count 10 more seconds. They hold it for 10 more seconds if they can. And if they can't, they can't.
Right.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
So do you it's
I get it.
continuous motion.
I get it. I think I get it, and I think most trainers, if they're listening, will understand the concept.
People don't
people
fully get
don't
it
get
until
it
they
right
do
away.
it.
Yeah.
Now, what was I going to say? Momentary muscle failure. Well,
so once they get to that point, and they get to the point where they can't, so that's when you stop. That's when you stop that particular movement for that particular muscle.
So there are two critical things that have to be adhered to.
Okay.
Number one, you must breathe continuously.
Mm-hmm.
It's not inhale, exhale, inhale. It's breathe normally as long as you can the
Oh,
whole time.
Interesting.
Yes,
Sort
keep
of counter
breathing. Keep
to what
breathing.
we've been taught.
And the other thing is never break form.
Yeah, form is everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You keep your form. And if you can't finish, you can't finish. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't break your form.
Right.
To get
Don't
that
just
last,
get sloppy.
No.
Because then you take it off the muscle. You let go.
Well, that's
of
where you
what
can
you're,
get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
see that a lot.
I've
in
never
gyms.
had
I've
any.
worked in 20 gyms over the years.
Never had anybody get hurt because it's
Yeah.
very, well, briefly, the man that first created it for elderly women with osteoporosis,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew they had to build muscle to build bone.
That's absolutely
but
true.
they're not going to be pumping iron.
No.
So
Building muscle builds bone or protects bone?
it actually releases. Now, I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm curious.
Okay,
I'm asking
well,
you.
when you build muscle,
Being a woman in her 60s.
okay, well, when you build muscle, it releases hormones and enzymes that
Mm-hmm.
go and add to bone density. I'm convinced, since I got into this, maintaining muscle as you get older is the single most important thing you can do for your health.
I agree with
The
you
whole body
100%.
keeps up.
I agree with you 100%. And I think that concept across the board is not universally known.
It's
No?
becoming more and more known.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely. I got to tell you really quickly, the woman that created my website has been with me for slightly over a year. She has osteoporosis. She's been doing it, doesn't take medication. She just had a bone scan, and she was upgraded from osteoporosis to osteopenia, which
yeah.
is the precursor.
Yes.
Without medication.
Yeah, so she actually
Absolutely.
is healing. So
Yes.
it's working.
Yes.
She's a great example
she is.
of it's
Absolutely.
working. So, okay, so do you obviously it's very precise. You keep a stopwatch or you're using your phone to
Right.
time it. And you do one session for 25 minutes. Do you stay in one muscle group? Do you do other muscle groups?
Every
you do the
week
circuit.
You do the circuit.
Gotcha. So that takes 25 minutes,
Well,
roughly.
yeah,
Because
roughly.
we don't know how long somebody can keep going to the point of muscle fatigue.
Exactly.
Okay. So then it goes without saying, a workout like this can't be done without a trainer.
Right.
Okay.
No, it's closely supervised.
Closely monitored.
Form, reminding
Okay.
you to breathe, reminding of your form, the whole thing. I'm
Right.
right there, fully engaged, which is one of the things I love about what I do, because the time goes quickly for me because I'm fully engaged with every
you're
single
so
yes.
focused. Yeah. And one of the things I learned, which you have to do with what you're doing, is that you stay in the moment, in the movement with your client. You don't start talking to them about what they're going to go for lunch or what they're doing over the weekend or what they had done. You really need to stay
Yes.
in those moments. It's
Yes.
so important. And this forces you to do that.
Yes,
which
and
is what I love.
Sometimes I have to be really kind of subtle about letting them know we're not going to chat.
Right.
We're going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you see the results that you see are, so give us a little idea of what your demographic is, first of all.
You fit the demographic.
I fit the demographic.
Number one.
Women.
Women, 75% of my clients are women. The average age is probably 58, 59.
Okay.
Now, I do have, I have a 30-year-old guy. I have a couple of women that are in their 40s. I have 4 80-year-olds.
You do have 4 80-year-olds. Okay, yes. I have a client in her 80s.
Right.
And I do this sort of my own version, but I'm not trained in this slow
I
motion.
get it, yeah.
So, so this is the part when you work with them, they're getting the actual muscle building training. What about cardiovascular? Is that something they do separate from being with you?
Okay, so first of all, if they're doing this truly committedly, they're breathing hard.
Right. So their heart rate is elevated.
I have guys at the end are like,
but this is once a week for 25 minutes. Shouldn't they be doing cardio work a little bit more than that?
I do.
Okay.
So
you recommend it to them.
Now, I told you I have an elliptical trainer.
Yes.
I used to do it 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
High intensity interval.
Exactly.
Yes, I do that with all my clients.
Okay, I do it 3 times a week.
8 minutes.
That's right. Well, I have some different routines.
Yeah, so
but
they have
I
different
try to
timings.
convince them to let go of the long, steady state and go with the high intensity intervals.
Good.
And
So
I
you're
send
asking them to do that in between working out
Yes,
with you.
and I send
Good. That was a big question for me.
I send
this
them
was.
routines.
Yes. Okay.
And I've convinced a couple of them to get elliptical trainers.
Good.
In their homes.
They can do it and get it. And it's, again, being mindful of the cardio part and doing the high intensity interval cardio part of it and not sitting there reading a newspaper or being on your phone.
Right.
It's so important. I make my clients do that. I actually physically do it with them. We both get side by side. We'll do 5 minutes, let's say, on the elliptical and then 5 minutes on the recumbent bike. And it's all high intensity.
Yes.
We're dripping in sweat after 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It's just because that's the way you should hit it. Literally hit it. Yeah.
I
have an article on that on my website.
Ever since I got into this, I'm fully convinced high intensity is the way you need to work out to get the maximum benefit.
And then you're saying that this is the thing that we need to do in between, and just once a week, 25 minutes.
And this is intense because the weights are heavy. I mean, I've got an 80-year-old, 79-year-old woman with 2 hip replacements on the leg press that does 170 pounds.
That's heavy duty. I know that.
I have to tell you one more.
Yes.
A friend of ours had cancer, bladder cancer, had her bladder replaced. 5'5", 160-pound woman. She was down to 95 pounds. Started on the leg press. She was pushing 78 pounds. Almost 3 years later, she's pushing 230 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
impressive.
Really. You're just proving that it works.
It works.
This is very tried and true.
Absolutely.
Wow. And it must be very satisfying for you personally. I know when I see
successes. This is the most satisfying thing I've ever done.
Life.
Yes.
Isn't it weird how it just, you went from real estate to retiring to this.
It just unfolded.
And what happens is when we try to better ourselves, we can't help, and something's working, we can't help but want to share it.
That's
for the most part,
that's
you know, and that's how I got from producing into health and wellness.
Yeah.
It's, the whole diet thing, what I know now, why can't I need to let people know universally? They're not planning in the future to do anything. You have to work with a trainer on this. You can't do like an online, go to a website or any of that.
Look, I wouldn't even do this alone.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it without somebody there.
Somebody timing you, keeping track, helping.
Yes.
Wow.
Now my wife and I, she's been doing it long enough. We work out together.
Yes. So, but one is there for the other.
Yeah. If she
so you
times
can't
me,
do it alone. So you definitely
I wouldn't.
Do. Okay. And two last things because we're out of time.
Yes.
But one last thing is I just forgot the question I was going to ask you. I did just like you did. It just left me. But I want to hear your final words of wisdom. But the other thing I was going to say is, are there people that do this all over the country,
Yes.
all over the city?
Yes.
So where do people go to find someone who does this for them if they don't live near us?
Okay. Well, now I'm not going to recommend these places because I don't know how they do, but there's something called the Perfect Workout.
Okay.
Which is a franchise all over the country.
Okay.
The Perfect Workout.
And this is the same premise that
same
they
premise.
follow.
There's Inform Fitness
Okay.
in New York and a few other places, and there's one right near here.
Is there information on your website about that?
No.
Not to go. Okay.
No.
You've heard it here.
They can look up slow motion, high intensity weight training.
And then it will take them to places that can do it. That was my question. And then final words, our time is up. It's been so quick, but we've learned so much in such a short period of time. What would be your final words of wisdom or something you would like to leave our viewers with, my viewers?
I would hope that people really fully start to realize how important maintaining muscle is as you get into middle age and older. It's crucial for overall health.
Longevity.
Yes.
Longevity with quality.
Yes.
It's big.
Yes.
It's big. And I'm so glad that you're helping people realize that.
I got into it just when it was starting to be recognized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really cool. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for your time today and this information. And I want to thank you for joining us. Go ahead and look Jeff up if you live here. It's Jeff Grossman. It's workoutgarage.com. Correct?
Yes.
So look him up and get a hold of him if you're interested in this type of workout and longevity, or the places that Jeff just talked about. You can look up and try to find those places close to you where you live and get involved in this. And I thank you all for your time. We're going to see you next week. Bye, everybody.